Hey everybody, Stephanie here. Thank you again for joining me on this next video to document my chronic Lyme journey. And today I'm going to be talking all about the different doctors that I saw until I found out the diagnosis of Lyme disease and their diagnoses, so stay tuned. A lot of you who are new to this channel might be wondering, what the heck is Lyme disease? Lyme disease is basically a bacterial infection caused by a spirochete, which is a cork-shaped bacteria called Borrelia burgdorferi. Yes, I know it's a big name, but it's transmitted by deer ticks, black-legged ticks, typically found in wooded areas. Lyme is really called the great imitator because its symptoms mimic so many other diseases, which I found through this journey. And it can lead to so many different misdiagnoses like chronic fatigue, multiple sclerosis, rheumatoid arthritis, fibromyalgia, and a variety of psychiatric illnesses like depression and Alzheimer's. And Lyme disease symptoms can affect so many organs of the body, including the brain, the nervous system, muscles, joints, and the heart. And it's common for a person with Lyme to also have other infections that include like chronic inflammation, have it, immune suppression, have it, elevated levels of heavy toxins and metals, which I do have. And when someone has Lyme disease, there's a few things that they have to really consider. They've got to really strengthen their immune system. Number one, detoxify their system, reduce inflammation, and at the same time attack all the infections from so many different angles. And that's actually what I'm doing on my Lyme journey right now. Received again so many comments and questions online about my journey, and so the latest question is really, how many doctors did you see and what did they diagnose you with? So my first doctor that I saw was my general practitioner, and I'm going to call her Dr. G. And if you're out there watching Dr. G, I want to say thank you to you and your team. You guys have been amazing. So in 2015, 2016, I had this rash around my eyes, and I had an eczema prescription with a little bit of steroid cream. Forward to March 2017, the rash just started to spread all over, and then 3 days after I went off that course, boom, everything just kind of went haywire. In June of 2017, I actually did a blood test for environmental and food allergies, issues with ragweed and grass and trees, dogs and cats, dust mites, molds, penicillin. But what also showed up, which was very surprising to me, was milk, cheese, egg whites, peanuts, oats, wheat, shrimp, tomatoes, bananas, strawberries, and celery. Like, who the heck is allergic to celery? But also on my results, it showed low vitamin B, that I was also pre-diabetic. I was teaching fitness classes, I was extremely healthy, I thought I ate well, but for whatever reason, it showed that I was pre-diabetic. Also showed that I had low red blood cell counts, my liver was off. I decided to eliminate all the foods that were on that list, which was 9 pages worth of results, and see what would happen for 30 days. Nothing changed. So Dr. G recommended that I go see my regular allergist. So fast forward to doctor number 2. I saw my allergist in October 3rd of 2017, which not only did he look over my food allergies, but he also did a skin prick food test, which then came up with even more foods that I was allergic to. So hops, I'm not a beer person. Purchased a lot of seafood, almonds, and again soybeans, and cherries even came up. So I was just like, okay, well, I've eliminated all those foods. Now I'm going to eliminate all these foods. So what am I going to eat? Well, that's going to be on another video. But basically what this allergist suggested is that I redo my allergy shots. And in my heart, I just said, I'm not sure if it's just allergy shots. I think that there's something more here. So I did not decide to do shots, and I didn't really know what else to do. So fast forward to doctor number 3, October 11th of 2017, I went to go see a health and wellness doctor, and she confirmed allergies to wheat. She did confirm a congested liver. I started that detox on November 1st of 2017, and massive supplement regimen, a certain kind of food. So no gluten, dairy, soy, corn, nuts, eggs, sugar, and meat. Extremely restrictive, but what she was trying to do was an elimination program. Fast forward to November 27, 2017, I got immediately worse, and after 17 days I dropped 17 pounds, and yet nothing was changing. You have to have like a healing crisis to go through in the beginning, but for me, nothing was changing. It was getting absolutely worse, and I still had to work. I still had to be on camera for work. I traveled a lot. I still needed to take care of my family, and so I didn't know what else to do. So I decided, why not go see a dermatologist? She suspected chronic dermatitis. So really what that is just really itchy, blistering, a skin manifestation, and she thought that had to do with gluten sensitivity. So she continued to order 11 different tests. Everything came back negative, and she said, your results look phenomenal, except your vitamin B levels were a little low. So December 20th of 2017, she decided to do a skin biopsy and confirmed eczema. So I left with even stronger steroid creams, and I was on and off prednisone as needed. Continued eating the exact same way, so no gluten, dairy, soy, corn, peanuts, eggs, sugar, except I did add back in meat, because I knew that meat could quickly increase my vitamin B levels because I was exhausted. I just couldn't think straight, and so I knew I needed that. And even though I added a vitamin B supplement, it wasn't fast enough. So there was something that my body wasn't getting. So then doctor number 5 ended up going into the emergency room, had an anaphylactic reaction. They put me on more prednisone. So I decided to go a different route, and I saw a functional medicine doctor. He is actually by trade a gastroenterologist, but he also is a functional medicine doctor. And so I spent 2 hours with him. He diagnosed me with histamine intolerance. So when histamine levels get way too high and when it can't break down, it can affect your normal bodily functions. And so he decided to put me on another supplement regimen. And he also said, by the way, are you stressed? I'm thinking, been on this journey for a long time. He says, well, I'm recommending that you go take some yoga. So that's why I started a yoga regimen. And at the same time, he said that teaching high-level fitness classes like you have been doing might be causing more stress for your body. So you might want to consider not continuing to teach or having issues with my memory. I couldn't remember my choreography, even though I had been teaching 4 years, some of the same choreography, and I was having some issues with my memory. And if he said that I was stressed, then okay, maybe I should stop. Plus I was traveling even more for work, so it was like, okay, well maybe I need to stop this stress. And in November of 2018, I decided to go see an acupuncturist, because when I talked with her, she says, you've got a lot of heat in your body and we need to release it. Dr. 8, and I went to see my annual, got my annual physical with my gynecologist. I got my general blood workout, and she immediately saw that my blood cells, my white blood cells, were low, that my vitamin D levels were low, and even though I was continuing to eat the same way, nothing was really changing. I was down 30 pounds by this time, and the only thing I really added back was meat. So I'm like, I don't know what else to do. So doctor number 9 went into another emergency room visit, December 29th of 2018. Got put on more prednisone, which I have to tell you really helps, but it's not a good medication to be on for long term. And on January 4th of 2019, when I did follow up with my GP, I did suggest, is it possible that I have an overgrowth of yeast in my body? I suggested a regimen of diflucan for about a month, and again, no change. In the meantime, my vision was getting even worse, and the inflammation around my eyes was pretty bad. Decided to go see an ophthalmologist. So on January 10th of 2019, ended up going to see a doctor, and she said that I had blepharitis. Basically, it's an inflammation of the eyelids. You get dry eyes, you have eye gland dysfunction, and she just suggested a warm cold compress. She gave me a prescription of doxycycline for a month, and nothing really changed. And so I came back to her on January 28th, and she's like, I'm kind of surprised that you have no improvements. Interesting. So then doctor number 12, I go to see a different allergist. So January 31st, 2019, I got even more tests from this allergist, and nothing has changed. But it's time, I'm down about 40 pounds. And so I was getting a little worried because I was losing weight so fast. I decided to go back to my general practitioner because I didn't know what else to do. I'm going to recommend you go to Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota. So at the time, just to make me comfortable again, she put me a little bit more on prednisone just to give me some relief, but she said you have to wean off before your trip to Mayo. Fast forward to Mayo Clinic, doctor number 14 I've seen, and he definitely looked at me and said, you have significant rashes on your arms, legs, your trunk, your back, your face, and neck. He recommended seeing another dermatologist, another allergist, and also a gastroenterologist at Mayo Clinic, Dr. 15. So at Mayo Clinic, I did see a dermatologist, and he reviewed all the results from my previous dermatologist, and he says, I think you have contact dermatitis as an airborne dermatitis. And he gave me heavy-duty steroid creams. He said, take a Zyrtec allergy pill, and he recommended that I perform a patch test. Now, is you put all these certain chemicals on your body and you keep it on for 5 to 7 days, and then you see how your body reacts. And if he's telling me that contact dermatitis was just on my face, well, what happened to the rest of the body? And so I respectfully disagreed with his diagnosis, and he respectfully disagreed with my conversation. I saw doctor number 16 and 17. These were both allergists, and they reviewed all of my IgE testing, which was my allergy testing, to see what I was truly allergic to. And he did suggest that due to some cross-reactivity components within the environment, that what is showing up as food sensitivities could just be a cross-reactivity with other environmental issues. So for an example, it said I was allergic to celery, but I'm also allergic to certain trees. Well, because there are that cross-pollination in the air, my body is thinking that I'm being attacked by a birch tree or a certain tree, but really I could be eating celery. And so that confuses my body, so then it shows up on all these tests as saying, you know what, you are allergic to celery or tomatoes or, you know, what other foods. We discussed the value of another IgE testing, which again reconfirmed allergies to grass and trees and weeds and dogs and cats. And then foods, specifically wheat, and then kiwi showed up. That was a new one for me. And then a variety of different seafoods, walnuts, peaches, apples, soybeans, and again, celery. If you could just stay away from those foods, you're in otherwise good health. And I'm thinking, these are two allergists that said, stay away from even more foods, lose even more weight, and what's going to happen from there? On my last visit at Mayo, a gastroenterologist, so doctor number 18, and he reviewed the angioedema and the contact dermatitis, and he just said, basically reintroduce even more fiber into your body to eliminate these inflammations that are in your system. But he says, otherwise, you're in overall good health. You can imagine that by the time I hit Dr. 18, and I was still feeling like crap, let's be honest here. I was still inflamed everywhere. Nothing was changing. I was so frustrated, I didn't know what else to do. I went to, as a recommended from a friend, to see a holistic practitioner and their techs, to a group called Natural Biowisdom, and they end up doing 3 body scans. One was on April 4th, April 16th, and April 24th of 2019. So then fast forward to Dr. 20, which is a holistic health practitioner. She's not a true doctor, but she's a health practitioner, reviewed my results, which was 15 pages of information. And she said that your vitals were very low, that your nutrient absorption was very low, you were deficient in so many nutrients, you had calcium loss, a clogged lymphatic system. She did confirm the allergies to the trees and cats and dogs, the dust mites. And then all the foods that showed up, again, corn, almonds, pecans, and then a high level of heavy metal toxicity, which included mercury, high pesticide toxicity, candida or yeast, and a bacterial infection. I didn't know how to prepare myself for this particular appointment, but she just sort of said, you have Lyme disease. And I said, whoa, time out. Wait, what? What showed up with all these bacterial infections was Borrelia, Babesia, and Babesia is a parasite which affects the red blood cells, Bartonella, which is another bacteria, and many other funguses and viruses that are considered co-infections when it comes to Lyme disease. August of 2019 is pretty much where we're at today, and I've seen significant improvements in swelling and itching, being able to sleep using this holistic approach. I hope that you guys found this journey interesting. Now that you know I've seen about 20 plus doctors over the last 3 years, and hopefully something resonated with you. If you have a chronic journey that you've been on, I would love to see those in the comments. And again, thank you again for watching, and we'll talk to you next time. See ya.